if he gave me the money back for paying the bills. And he told me no.
Once you stop paying all the bills, the clock is running. Subscribe, let's talk about it.
So my husband ended up losing his job. He came home and he told me. I'm like, okay, cool. All right. So a month went by and he looked for me to pay the bills. Who paying what bills? So I was going to consider it if he gave me the money back for paying the bills. And he told me no. He felt like he shouldn't have to do that. What do you mean? When I told you, as a man, I expect you to provide. Under no circumstances will I ever touch bills as long as I got a husband. None. If you can, you can hear.
He probably happy you gone, though.
I'm sure he missed me.
A headache? That would be a headache for me.
Honestly, that's a headache for all of us. The reason why we highlight these, right? We highlight these videos or these vocal minorities is because it seeps into the consciousness of the majority. Think about how many concepts or ideas you've seen first on these spaces online, on YouTube, TikTok, whatever, right? These podcasts that people like to criticize. It's usually 5 to 10 years before the mainstream media adopts it. Shorter for the actual real world to adopt these things. Think of just in terms of slang, in terms of the little things people do. You first saw it online, then you see your grandma doing it. This is how it becomes pervasive. So when we push back and say that you have women here talking about they refuse to go 50-50, they want a man that pays all the bills. And we constantly also say, yeah, this is probably not the majority of women, but you have to push back on it because it will become that. Now you take a woman like this who got married, and what are those vows? Is right for richer or poorer. But once you lose that income, a lot of women will put you on a timeline now. You only have X amount of time to restore yourself to where you were before, so I can continue my life. I'd rather, now let's understand what we're talking about here. Her husband said, yo, I'm on down on luck. I need you to step up. And she's only saying it only if you can pay me back for what I've done. So you'd rather have that kept life. And once that is disrupted, what use is the man? You have to understand that this is part and parcel of the game today. When we want to push and say, well, you're supposed to marry her, you're supposed to do these things, a real man's supposed to do X, Y, and Z. Understand that if you stop doing any of these things that's been labeled, it's not that this person may step up. What can happen to you, she may say, this is where I take my leave. Part of the reason here is because divorce, the dissolution of your marriage or your relationship has become just a normal thing. We get very good at the beginning of the relationship and how to end them. But the middle part of how to keep these things together, we just don't really care about. So listen, before we continue, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Listen, we're trying to get to 5,000 subscribers. So if you get any type of value, find this content exhilarating, funny, whatever, helps you pass the time, subscribe to the channel. Besides that, subscriber Sundays, 7 p.m. Central Time, you'll see us. We'll go live, we'll have a little show, we'll do all the thing. We'd love to see you there. Come join us. So this is important because we see two camps really emerging on the online space about when it comes down to relationships. I don't need a man. I'll never need a man. You shouldn't rely on a man for anything. And then you're supposed to do this as my husband has a husband. So for those that still wish to get married, understand that part of that is being poisoned. And the reason that men aren't saying, let me get down on bended knee, because of this. They know when things are up, things are good, then this can be good by that definition. But the burden of proof is always going to be on the male. When we say our mental health suffers because we're simply looked at for what we produce, and you say, well, that's terrible, but turn around and say, you're supposed to do this as a man. Understand, you're not really helping. You're part of the problem. If you can only intrinsically see a man for what he does, what he provides, then the minute that provision is no longer useful to you, you want to cut bait. Cool. Understandable. Now, for those that other camp that says, yo, I don't want to get married at all. Cool. Don't worry about it. Hey, don't worry about it. You're going to find enough people that agree with you too. Hey, you don't want to get married? Great. He's not looking to get married either. More and more men are looking and saying it's a bad deal, especially when you have someone here saying, if he loses his job, I'll kick up for a bit, but he has to repay me. If not, I'm out. So as long as I'm paying in and your money is your money, then that's fine. We sometimes hear it said, and sometimes people take it as a joke, but if this is the actual truthful reality for some women who became wives, you have to go into this with your eyes wide open. If you decide to do this and you get no prenup, you go here saying, well, we're in love, she would never treat me like that. Take one day and sit in divorce court. Take one day and sit in divorce court and just look at what's happening. Look at what actually occurs. The person you divorce, not the person you marry. Now, when you complain, when we hear complaints, real complaints about women saying, yeah, men leave us when we get sick in marriages. Okay. You leave men whenever it suits you. Right? We're all terrible people, but one does not discount the issues of the other. We can have space enough to talk about each and every one, a specific issue at a time. But if it's money, the reason why we look at this, it's like you can somehow, for no fault of your own, go broke. Life is like that. In fact, most of us expect that at some point in time for it to happen. That's why we build emergency funds. That's why we have a rainy day fund, because there's an expectation that depending on your job, depending on the economy, you simply could be out of favor. AI can replace you. A younger version of you can replace you. You can run afoul of someone at work, and now it's in short order, you're gone, you're replaced. Sometimes it doesn't matter if you did anything wrong. You completely complied. You're completely within the rules and regulations, but your job is gone. Now your relationship is gone. Now your marriage is gone. Now the other stability in your life is gone. This is what happens when, and I think we all can understand why it feels, why we get so jaded at the idea. I'm doing everything right, and then life punches me in the lip. And then so does my wife. That isn't something that we feel is part of the stability that we're looking for in our life. If I'm going to run the rigors of possibly going broke, I might as well do it by myself. I might as well do it and just simply date when I get lonely, or date just for fun, for recreation and use. That way I know it's all on me. I turn around and look for someone else for help. That person is going to be, all I'm going to see is their shadow leaving the door. It doesn't make sense for us to say, I'm now going to submit myself to you to provide, to protect, to ensure you have an easier life. She says, I don't even touch a bill. I'm going to do all these things, but it buys me nothing. This amount of effort, it buys me nothing, because at the first sign of danger, you're ready to go. Unless you can be paid back, he can make sure your pockets go right back to where they are. But he had to maintain you, us, together. But the minute you have to step up and take care of that role in extenuating circumstances, it's an absolute no. This is a great reason to show, like, yeah, why bother? Why bother? And I think the worst part of it is just how smug she seems about it. Just how confident she seems about it. Like, of course, this is just a normal thing for it to happen. Of course. Listen, if this is what if you agree with this, let me know down in the comments. All right. If you see other videos on the screen, check those out. Let me know your thoughts about those in those videos. And of course, if you listen to my voice now, you have not subscribed, I think you should. Just trying to build something dope. I'll see you in the next one.